Popular for her direct approach, Pati LaBelle recently made waves when she named certain Hollywood executives she believes attempted to damage Aretha Franklin's reputation. The claim caused several people to take notice, considering the ongoing allegations of LaBelle and Franklin's apparent hostility toward one another. It's critical to comprehend the situation. Over the years, there have been rumors about a schism between Pati LaBelle and Aretha Franklin, which LaBelle thinks is utterly ridiculous. In response to these reports, she stated that there was never any bad blood between them and that any apparent dissension was exaggerated. Following an incident at the 2014 Women of Soul event at the White House, during which Franklin allegedly ignored LaBelle by refusing to shake her hand, the rumor mill began to whirl significantly. The media covered this event extensively. On Watch What Happens Live, LaBelle later played down the incident in an interview with Andy Cohen. She clarified that Franklin had misidentified her as LaBelle and that she wasn't even the woman she had avoided. LaBelle responded, "I don't know who the lady was. I just know she had on a green coat," brushing off the rejection as an instance of identification confusion. Their past was further complicated in 2014 when there was a rumor that the two legendary singers had gotten into a physical brawl. LaBelle and Franklin promptly refuted these reports, telling the world that they were in a cordial relationship. "Pati and I are cool, and we always have been," Franklin said, dispelling rumors of continuous animosity. When Franklin declared in 2016 that she was establishing her own food line, ostensibly in direct competition with LaBelle's own successful foray into the food market with her well-liked sweet potato pies offered at Walmart, rumors about their alleged rivalry were once again raised. Both stated there was no rivalry between them, even though LaBelle made a lighthearted remark to Hotspots magazine that Franklin's debut in the market would require her to move that pie to the side. The story took a somber turn when Franklin passed away in 2017. LaBelle called Franklin the Queen of Soul and my sister in song, expressing deep sadness at her passing, and publicly refuted any claims of a conflict, saying emphatically, "I haven't had beef with anyone." In a moving interview that aired in 2019 on The Breakfast Club, LaBelle talked about how Franklin's unmatched musical talent had influenced the soundtracks of countless lives, referring to her as a unique gem. She also disclosed that they had planned a collaboration, saying, "We were supposed to do a duet before she passed away." LaBelle reflected on their time together in Detroit, recalling carefree moments that stood in stark contrast to the view that the public had of their relationship. LaBelle also talked about the larger background of her contacts in the industry, dropping hints about impending disclosures to those who had previously misjudged or ignored her. She revealed, "I'm filming a movie about people who made fun of me," referring to a project in which she hoped to vent her frustrations and correct misconceptions regarding how she was treated in the music business. The story of rivalry and reunion was further muddied by LaBelle's claim that Franklin and she had both frequently disparaged other singers while retaining the ferocious attitude typical of real divas. In spite of this, Franklin decided to defend her name from unfounded allegations and filed a lawsuit against a satirical news website in 2014 after it was falsely claimed that she and LaBelle got into a physical brawl. Aretha Louise Franklin was more than just a singer. She was a phenomenon and a force of nature whose voice touched millions of people. Barbara Nay Seeger and Clarence Levon C. L. Franklin welcomed their daughter into the world on March 25, 1942, in Memphis, Tennessee. Her father was a well-known Baptist minister and circuit preacher, and her mother was a gifted pianist and vocalist, so music was a big part of her upbringing. When Franklin was barely 2 years old, the family relocated to Buffalo, New York. However, they quickly made their way to Detroit, Michigan, where her father accepted a position as pastor of the New Bethel Baptist Church. Franklin was able to grow both musically and spiritually in this setting, which combined the energy of a Saturday night with the holiness of Sunday morning in a society where worship and music were closely related. In a previous observation, Ray Charles spoke to the distinctive ambience of the New Bethel Baptist Church, maybe indicating Hollywood's desire to conceal this dynamic cross-cultural meeting point. Hollywood frequently decided to ignore the dualism in Franklin's life, which was characterized by the juxtaposition of the religious and the secular, and instead concentrate on the more sensational aspects of her persona. Due in large part to Mr. Franklin's adulteries, Barbara and Mr. Franklin's marriage was turbulent and ended in divorce in 1948. Following the incident, Barbara went back to Buffalo with Aretha's half-sibling in search of comfort and security. Aretha and her mother remained close in spite of the distance and their parents' divorce. She treasured the summers she spent navigating the emotional terrain of her split family with her brother Vo. Despite the difficult conditions, Barbara made numerous trips from Buffalo to Detroit in an attempt to stay in touch with her children. She made an effort to close the emotional and physical distances between her and her kids. Unfortunately, Barbara Franklin had a difficult life that ended abruptly on March 7, 1952, when she suffered a heart attack. Aretha was deeply affected by this terrible incident, which happened a few days before she turned 10. Aretha faced further obstacles in the years that followed. She gave birth to her first child, Clarence, at the young age of 12 and named him after her father. Aretha had to deal with the harsh realities of becoming a teenage mother under challenging circumstances. Aretha welcomed her second son, Edward, just before turning 13. She never revealed the identity of either child's father in public, despite the circulating speculations. Although no hard proof was offered, David Ritz's biography Respect the Life of Aretha Franklin from 2014 hinted that Donald Burke, a friend from school, might be Clarence's father. Some historians and critics have suggested that Aretha may have committed statutory assault if her early pregnancies had resulted from non-consensual interactions. This part of her life was still shrouded in mystery and was brought up again in 2019 after her passing. Several handwritten wills were found at that time, one of which was concealed on a couch. This led to arguments among her sons over the validity of the wills. Aretha and her father had a complicated relationship that was rarely mentioned in public, especially when it came to her early pregnancies. Within her life story, Edward Jordan Sear, whom she recognized as the father of her second son Edward, was a controversial figure. Aretha married Ted White when she was 18. After a brief engagement, their marriage was quickly consummated, although her father was not pleased with White's character. After accusations of violence, the marriage finally ended in 1969, ushering in a difficult period in Aretha's personal life. Celebrities' personal and professional lives frequently overlap, and Aretha's union with Ted White was no different. There were claims of violence, both in public and private, and after they split up, White's brother Cecil took over as manager. Aretha held on to a romanticized vision of her marriage to Ted White, in spite of the turmoil surrounding their breakup. Together, Earline, her sister-in-law, and Aretha's brother Keel experienced the complexities of Aretha's tumultuous relationship. Aretha's life narrative is not just about her hardships, it's also about her tenacity. She encountered many difficulties after her split with White, but she also made fresh beginnings. She married actor, producer, writer, and director Glenn Turman in 1978. Despite having children from past marriages, their marriage was initially peaceful, but soon broke down due to the stress of being apart, resulting in a divorce in 1984. Following her divorce, Aretha maintained her popularity and single status while dating William Willie Wilkerson, who became well known. Despite never getting married, their 2012 engagement brought them widespread notoriety. Aretha Franklin made history in 1967 when, at the age of 25, she gave a groundbreaking performance of Otis Redding's Respect. Her interpretation of the song became a symbol of confidence and empowerment, going beyond genre borders to represent themes of liberty and equality. The beginning of an incredible chapter in her career was her partnership with producer Jerry Wexler, and the release of I Never Loved a Man, The Way I Love You, at Rick Hall's Fame recording facility in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Aretha reached a historic milestone in 1987 when she was admitted as the first female member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She was honored to be recognized alongside industry icons like B.B. King and Marvin Gaye, demonstrating her ongoing influence and commitment to her work. Aretha's journey was not without difficulties, even with her achievements. She was in fierce competition with other women her own age, including Whitney Houston, Diana Ross, Anita Baker, and Natalie Cole. The music business frequently minimized these conflicts in favor of highlighting other facets of her career. Crucial to her career was her relationship with Clive Davis, who emerged as a major player after she departed Atlantic Records. Aretha continued to flourish under his direction at Arista Records, putting out some of her most well-known records and securing her place in music history. Aretha Franklin left behind a legacy marked by extraordinary skill, fortitude in the face of personal and professional setbacks, and a long-lasting influence on the music business and beyond. During his 40-plus years as Chief Creative Officer at Sony Music Entertainment, Clive and Aretha Franklin have maintained a close bond. He recalls how their relationship started out small and evolved through their business dealings over time. Clive recalls this time clearly. They first crossed paths in the late 1970s, when Aretha contacted him not long after he had made his name at Arista Records. Aretha was finishing off her career with Atlantic Records at the time, and she was working with producers who were unable to properly handle her special skill. She prepared dinner for him at her Los Angeles home, where they had their first meaningful talk. This set the tone for an evening full of insightful discussion. Due to his involvement in cultivating important ties inside the industry, Clive has garnered a lot of attention recently. Most notably, he brought Aretha into contact with Quincy Jones, who inadvertently connected her to celebrities like rappers and tycoons like Diddy. This relationship has caused controversy as Diddy battles multiple legal issues, highlighting Clive's significant but occasionally contentious influence in the music business. Clive had a significant influence, especially with the formation of Arista Records. He signed and supported musicians, including Patti Smith, The Outlaws, Eric Carmen, Ace of Base, Air Supply, DNA Warwick, Ray Parker Jr., Aretha Franklin, and Alicia Keys, who went on to become well-known names in the music industry. His guidance was also essential to Puffy, the founder of Bad Boy Records, and their success. Clive's career hasn't been without controversy either. Following information regarding his role in a civil action accusing him of misusing company cash, he testified before a grand jury in New York and was eventually fired by Columbia Records in 1973. According to the lawsuit, he misused business funds to cover exorbitant expenses such as extravagantly decorating his flat and throwing a sumptuous bar mitzvah. Despite these obstacles to his career, Clive continued to be regarded as a key player in the music business, respected for his ability to identify talent and his covert involvement in the less respectable facets of the industry. An ex-employee of Columbia Records alluded to the shadowy aspects of the business, where management supported illegal activity in order to satisfy performers' off-stage needs. Aretha's life was complicated and entwined with many of the era's elites. One memorable event was her encounter with Oprah Winfrey. Viewers expected a lively discussion between these two strong women, who both brought a wealth of expertise to the table. But the conversation took an unexpected turn, delving into sensitive and personal subjects like Aretha's previous relationships and song lyrics, topics that some felt went too far in their personal lives. Some saw Oprah's investigation into Aretha's romantic past, particularly her relationship with Dennis Edwards, of The Temptations, as an attempt to dramatize Aretha's private life. Despite this, Aretha handled the questions with her usual grace, dismissing them slightly while keeping her composure throughout the conversation. Throughout her career, Aretha Franklin battled internal struggles with self-doubt and societal expectations, in addition to the exterior obstacles of a demanding and frequently intrusive industry. Even with her extraordinary gift, she sometimes doubted her own vocal prowess and battled with her self-perception, especially in relation to her looks and her job as a mother. Aretha was frequently depicted by Hollywood as a perfect diva, but in reality, she faced numerous unacknowledged personal and professional hardships. Her love of food and accompanying health problems were also covered up in favor of a more glamorous image, and her financial struggles were seldom acknowledged in favor of her musical achievements. There is no denying Aretha Franklin's legacy in spite of these obstacles. She continued to be a prominent figure in the music business, respected for both her extraordinary voice and her capacity to persevere in the face of hardship. Her narrative, as portrayed in the unauthorized biography by David Ritz, offers a more nuanced view of her life away from the spotlight. It depicts a lady who had both the greatest and lowest points in her life. The world of music and Aretha Franklin's devoted followers throughout the globe were profoundly affected by her untimely passing at the age of 76. Due to health concerns, she had to postpone her 2018 concerts, which served as a sobering reminder of her mortality, given her legendary reputation. The full story of Aretha Franklin ought to be told, despite Hollywood's desire to sugarcoat her legacy. It is one of resiliency, nuance, and continuing influence. Subscribe Rumor Spill for more videos.